Hey folks, Eric here, and we're back to modeling Joe's Arcade, which, if you remember, is a thing that I'm going to be working on, hopefully weekly. And yeah, today we're going to try to do some of the trim around the floors and maybe do some of the rough tile texturing on the floor. And if I get really ambitious, I might do something with the lights. Big difference, hopefully, this time is that I've kind of looked ahead at what I'm going to try to do, so I will hopefully spend less time scrambling for dimensions on my really super messy notes that you can see here. Again, to avoid copyright infringement, I'm not going to put any music in this video, but I'm going to be listening to Remarkably Human by Johnston. It's a pretty awesome album, and there's a link in the description. Yeah, so anyway, right to the point, one comment that I received from the actual Joe of Joe's Arcade, who is not this guy, is that when I made a guess in the first round at what direction this door faced, my guess was wrong. So that should be flipped, I believe, and I did kind of verify that with the video here. He said that the one door is backwards, and I know this one's the right way because of where the handle is in the shot. So I'm going to flip this from my best understanding of the way it should be, and if I get it wrong, hopefully he will let me know and I can try to get it right again. Anyway, let's just scale that guy at a -1 like before. Move it in back to where it was, and now that handle is on the other side, and I think our doors are facing the way they should. And I guess that makes sense because it's probably the same door, just rotated 180 degrees to fit. Okay, so that out of the way, I think the next thing that I want to do here is just kind of put some of the rough trim around the corners, floor, and ceiling that is in there to give a little flair to our edge models. Oops. So if I pull up my PDFs of what that looks like, I've actually got it off to the side here. We've got kind of a wedge-shaped piece that's going around the ceiling, and we've got, for the corners and the floor, this same kind of cut out 90-degree quarter circle piece. So those, I think, should be fairly simple to model. Let's give just off to the side here, I think, is where I'll do it. I'll kind of make this my component yard. So for the ceiling piece, that's going to be 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to have to get in real close here. By 3/4 of an inch. And then I come up at 0.2 inches, 0.2 inches, and close. And I'll just give this some length and group that. So that's going to be my ceiling piece. And actually, let's go ahead and run that in. So I'll move it over here, and I'll rotate it down. Kind of a good example of what I'm going to be looking for. I think it was around 2 minutes in the video here. Maybe not. Oh, there we go. So clearly, I did not plan this out as well as I had expected. There we go, though. This is kind of what we're going for, is this detail in the corner here. This top row is what I'm doing, and then I'll do one for the corner and the sides. Okay, so if I move this then up to our corner like that, that's how it should look. I'm going to copy it, because I should have done that here before so I don't lose it when I make some geometry edits to it. Let's just put this down with our other piece for safekeeping. And I'll make another copy for this wall, one for the other wall, and for wall number 4. And I'll just end up rotating those around here. Drag this thing out like so. This one will come up here to that corner, but it is going to actually need to rotate about this edge. Nope, I got it backwards, but that's no big deal. Rotate it there and like that. And I've already got a copy over on this side. So let's move that around. I'm keeping these on the details layer just because basically I'm going to use this layer for anything that is not a critical piece to seeing how the room looks. Just kind of some extra flair. So we've got that piece. Let's make that longer. Make this one a little bit longer. And then come on over to this side. I'll spin that. Move it on up. And then it's just going to extend here to the door frame. Obviously it wouldn't go past that. And we'll go ahead and copy that then to the other side to fill in that little gap over there. And pull that back to where it should be. Okay, there we go. But I do think I want to clean this up a little bit because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist with this. And generally, I think a clean model is a better model. A little bit more stable, hopefully, as it gets large. So we'll do that. Let's see if what I just did there actually worked, because I don't know. Looks like I need a line up top here like that. But then I can delete these lines and still have my inner angled face there. So move that back in. And now you can see, of course, that I've got kind of a overlapping edge here still. I think that ought to take care of it. Let's move that guy over to where I can see it. Delete, delete, delete. Oops. And delete. And while I'm at it, get this side. Ooh, camera's being a little tricky there. I know what I'm going to do to make this a little bit faster, I think. I'm going to actually just draw this face over here. Come on up. I'll draw that face and I will copy it out this way 2 feet, and I will move it out this way 2 feet, and then I'll move these each individually as well. I'll select those and I'll explode them, because then that line will break those faces. And I don't have to trace each one individually and tediously. Oop. But I still have to get those little bits of extra faces. That one's going to need one more chamfer cut in it. But I will need to bring it back over, it looks like, to get that drawn in. So there, down, over and up. Same deal. Copy over. Move over. Move over. I'll get this one here while I'm looking at it. Move that thing over 24 inches again. And learning from last time, I will catch this one like that. "24, 24, 24, and 24. Explode those things. This one can come back over already because it's only got the one side to do. Oh, I've lost it. There we go. And move that one back over. And there we go. Got those. Now I'll kind of do our other shape here. Which was 0.75 again. Some of these little details can be really tricky. 0.18 and 0.18. And then we've got a circle in here. And I just put radius equals because at the time I was too lazy to actually calculate the radius, but that is just going to be 0.75 minus 0.18, which is 0.57. So it's going to look like that. And we will quarter that thing. And it goes here. I'm going to delete that and recreate it so that I can create a face there to extrude. And let's make that a foot tall again. This time I'll copy it over like that. Okay. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees there. I'll copy another one, and I'll rotate this one to be horizontal. This will be for our floor. Let's go ahead and put that where it goes, actually. Pop in under here. And I'll create a couple more while I'm at it for these other sections that are going to need some. Extend that guy over here. Pop in under the floor for this one. There we go. Except I gotta move it flush here. And lengthen it out. This one's 180 degrees. And I'll grab this endpoint here. I'm using a 3D mouse for this, which is, in my opinion, the easiest way to move some of these things around, just because it enables me to move the camera right into the floor like that. With a normal mouse, it's a little bit trickier to do, but certainly doable. There's a couple tricks you can use just moving things along the coordinate axes to get that to work with a normal mouse. We'll rotate this -90 because I can't really see what direction that's facing. I guessed wrong again, but that's okay. Grab that. Let's put it on the corner there. And there. And last but not least, this little piece, which is going to be all of about 2 or 3 inches. Okay. I wonder if I guessed right on that. Yeah, 4 inches. Not bad. Okay, so I'm going to do something a little bit different. Actually, I gotta think about how I'm going to approach this, because I do want to trim these off, but since they're curved faces, I don't want to have to draw all that geometry. So I'm going to create a whole bunch of copies to get this done. I'll go over 200. I will explode these, and I'll do an intersect faces with model. And then, because I'd still like to keep them separate components, like separate pieces of wood, I will just then go ahead and trim them like this. We'll see if this works. It sure did. Okay. But before I close that loop, I want to clean this up a little bit. So we'll do that and that. And wow, that's nuts what's going on in there. Let's delete that arc because we don't need it. And we don't need that or that. Or that. And there we go. Nice 45-degree chamfered edge. And I can move that guy back 200. I'm going to create another one for this edge here. Or this piece here. And I'll just create all of these while I'm thinking about it. Let's do that one. This will have to go, I think, 200 in the other direction to get clear of those walls. And for this last piece, let's just go 400. And to be a little bit more efficient about it, I'll select all of these in one go. Do our explode. and deselected some of them. But then I will do my intersect faces with model. There we go. Delete that. Create my line here that I know I need now. That's gone. That arc's gone. And can't forget about these lines. One end down. Oh. Yeah, you can see the camera really gets a little bit wonky when you're doing this kind of a small detail in a large model. There's that line. And I was supposed to delete this one. There we go. I'll group that guy back up. 200 over. Okay. And then that can go away. That can go away. And I can delete these little bits while I'm here too. Delete our extra lines. Does seem like the order you delete some of these lines in does matter, but you get to the same spot usually. I've got my nice edge there, and let's clean up this other side. And I did forget the short piece, didn't I? So I'll have to make another copy and get that one. Boom, boom, boom. Sometimes this can get a little bit repetitive, and there's other things I could do to speed this process along potentially. Depending on how many I was doing, I could create an angled face and rotate it around and then drag it around, and stretch it around using the move tool to kind of get this same effect. Look what I've done here. I've deleted, so actually I'm going to kind of use that, something similar to that method, just because I don't want to have to take the time to remodel that. I will copy this one and I'll scale it at a -1 factor to mirror that. Because that should fit in nicely right here. So yeah, I mean, lots of different ways to get this done. I'm just doing it the way I am because it seemed the simplest at the time, but as you can see, that worked pretty well too. You have to do just a little bit more scaling and that kind of thing. Okay, then I'll come over here, get that, and these. Oh, I missed that line. Usually it's pretty easy to tell that you've missed something because the face you're watching for it to appear just doesn't show up. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. And 200. There we go. And do I see something weird going on here? I sure hope I don't, but if I do, ha! I totally do. What is that all about? Alright, let's move this one What have I done here? I still have a raw one. I still have all the raw corners sitting around there. That's annoying. I'm going to get rid of those. Let's make sure I don't have any of those other ones hiding around. Just by recklessly deleting what I've got here. Let's put those back. Okay. Good and cleaned up. Alright, something else I'm going to go ahead and do, since these are like sort of part of the same unit, even though I've just broken them up, is I am going to grab them and I will make groups out of those so I can drag them around. You know, I can drag around all this trim at the same time if I feel like it. That might not be the right word to be calling it by, so if there's a different one, definitely let me know. Okay, our last step here is going to be this. And because I don't believe from looking at it, at least from what I remember, there's some kind of crazy chamfer going on. You know, like if I did that, well, let's take a look at the video, see what we can see. It's a little bit grainy up there. But yeah, so it doesn't look like that is being angled in. Looking for maybe one more place to support that. So we move back along here. I think at the end I go back over to this door and look around too. Nope. Alright, let's take one more look around this side to try to nail this down. That was a good shot right there. Maybe. Maybe. Okay. Yeah, so what I'm seeing there is that either this stops short like that and extends down to this other one, you know, to our bottom. Stops like that. Or it's the opposite and these corners get pulled back and that extends to the bottom and the full ceiling. That's something I might tweak later if I find out otherwise. But for now I'll show it like this. Create a couple copies of this guy. It's going to be the same length in all four corners, just with some rotation. So let's go do a 180 there. And that looks pretty good to me. Move this one up here. See if I can catch that same snap again. That was I'm surprised it got that on the first one. Doesn't look like it, so I'll just pop into the wall. Do it that way. And then we have got one more. And I'll rotate it that way 90 degrees. Cool. All right. So I've got those in. I'm not going to go ahead and color them right now because I'm going to wait until we get some more of the details in so I can try to match those colors a little bit better from the picture. But the other thing that I do want to get through is just a placeholder texture, at least for the tiles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just open Paint here, and I'm going to resize this image to be 2 pixels by 2 pixels, which, whew, that is one heck of an image. This is going to be like the most light-duty texture of all time. And I'm going to create not quite a dead black pattern of these tiles. And looking at my other sheet here, I've got an origin point noted. And there are tiles, there are 9-inch tiles in a 2x2 grid, and then they alternate. So, we have black, 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 and then 4 white, 4 black, 4 white that started that origin point. So for the moment, I'm just going to put a black pixel here and here, and then I will do a similar thing, make this not pure white, and I'll create those there. And I'm going to save this thing under a new folder I'll call Textures. And again, this is kind of going to be a placeholder, but I want to get a little bit more color in here, and I can get it aligned, and then I should be able to swap it out with a more final texture later. So I'll just call that Tile Floor. And I will come back over to SketchUp, and I'll create a new texture. Called Tile Floor. And we want to use texture image Tile Floor. Whoa, that does not look awesome, I've got to say. So we'll see what happens. These are going to be 18 inches by 18 inches. Don't know what colorize means, so I'm not going to do it. Yeah, that'll be the default size of that thing. So okay, we've got that created now. We'll see how well it comes in. I might have to bump it up, resize it a little bit so it doesn't look just totally awful. Last thing I want to look at to get that in place is down here at the bottom of my dimensions drawing. I have this origin point called out, and I've got to say I don't quite know what I was doing, because this is like the worst dimension note taking that I may have ever done in my whole life. But 17.5 from basically this wall, and 13.5 from what I am understanding to be this dimension 58. And the reason that I believe that to be the case is that if you add 58, 13.5, and then round up the ½ inch, say for measurement error or something, it's divisible by 18 into an even number. And since these tiles probably actually start at a corner, I'm thinking that's the correct dimension. And then 17.5, if I measure back the extra 3/4 of an inch that's covered by our base trim here, that's also divisible by 18. And as I'm saying this, I remember something else that I noticed while I was kind of reviewing these dimensions. This dimension here, I've got a little circle for the total length of the room. That is being shown to the face of that 3/4 inch trim. So I actually shortened this room by an extra 3/4 of an inch than I should have when I first set it up. So I'm going to adjust that here too. I'm going to grab the wall, and I'll move it 3/4 of an inch. Unfortunately, and I find this to be a little bit of an advantage of group modeling, although it's not too hard to do otherwise. This is a pretty easy type of adjustment to make. What did I do here? 4 3/4. Okay. Oop. I gotta orient faces on this guy. And move that back into the corner. Wish I had remembered to do this as I was actually putting these in, but that's what you get, I guess. Move my floor slab out there and clean up this corner. We'll be good to roll. Oops, got a little bit overzealous with the clicking there. And we'll move that 0.75. Okay, problem solved. Back on track. So, yes, what I believe is the correct dimension to be showing here is if I come from this point, which is the corner of my wall there. I believe. Did I get it? Or did I get something else? I got something else. I need to come from this point up 18 inches. Just rounding that to make this work out nice and evenly like it probably should. And 58 plus 14, because rounding up that 13.5, so 58 plus 14, that's 72 inches. That is where my tile pattern should start. Okay. I'm also going to just draw an 18-inch by 18-inch square here, because this way I can double check that the sizing on that is correct. I'll just delete that face though. Okay. So I will just texture that floor with, oh my goodness, that is awful. Alright, so what I need to do to fix that is just bump up the resolution of this texture. Fortunately, it should be pretty easy, I think. Well, let's see what happens. Let's make that 256 by 256, and oh my, it's only done 1 pixel. So let's select all and resize that to be 256 by 256. Challenges. What's happened here is my canvas was not large enough. So I'm going to just make it really ginormous so that I can get this right. And I suspect it might blur the lines a little bit too, which I'm not going to be thrilled about. No, it actually did pretty well. Cool. Now I'll drag this canvas back down to size. I could crop it too, but this is pretty much just as easy. And we'll just save that again as tile floor. I'll come back in here, edit that, And yeah, look at that. That's much, much better. Just by reloading that there. So, okay. Now let's grab that texture and let's position it so the origin, whoa, is on this origin point. And you can see there with the position that those tiles line up nice and evenly with my edges of wall here. So I'd say that looks pretty good for the moment. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, except, yeah, okay. So yeah, that's a pretty good starter for our checker pattern. And I think we'll go ahead and call it there.